Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Who is going to start first? Come on. Volunteer before I will have to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So,
Just give me a second. Yeah, just give me a second.
okay. All right. So, share screen and the same way, but starting from the basic understanding and going from there.
Okay.
All right. Take your time and then start.
Okay. Shall I go?
Yes, go ahead.
You have disabled the participant screen sharing.
It's enabled now.
Okay. Shall I wait till Neelam come back?
Yeah, you can give her a minute.
Soumya, you start, Soumya. Okay, I'm good. Soumya.
Do you want to go, Neelam? Do you want to go first or?
No. You start, Soumya. You start, huh? Just a moment. You start.
Okay. So, yesterday we were talking about the project manager's role, and our homework was supposed to be a presentation on on the project manager's the project planning, how he does it or how she does it. So the project manager lists and gets all the software, hardware, and the manpower needs, and then he plans or she plans the timeline and deliverables. Project managers list and prioritize the stakeholders, then create the plan and documentation space in the system, like a SharePoint site where they can share and store all the documentation which the project manager shares with the business analyst, and then plans the communication schedules and the status meeting with the internal team as well as with the stakeholders, like when to communicate, what to communicate, who should we be communicating to, and the level of communications and everything here the project manager plans. And project managers make sure that the project is running smoothly and on timely manner without any hindrance. And the project manager resolves if there is any hurdle or any issues or which may occur during the process of project implementation or execution. Project manager makes sure to meet all the deliverables on time, just like getting it starts from sharing or getting all the things done, getting the BA or the developers or the architect on board till the time they deliver the actual product or the solution to the stakeholders. So project manager coordinates the deployment process or the release process, and also take care of the closure of the project. So I just worked on this one today. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, were you able to hear me?
Yeah, I was able to.
I'll stop sharing.
All right. So next, after the project manager, go over to the BA role. What is your communication? How you start and what you communicate to the project manager? What information you needed to start?
Okay, so first, on the day one, when I meet the project manager at the site, I'll introduce my, like they will be knowing who am I because he'll be recruiting me, or he'll be selecting me for this role, and then I ask for the stakeholders list as well as the place where they keep all the documentation and what is the project all about and more information on the project.
All right, and that's what you ask. So explain, keep going, like, what you do on day one, how you, like, start, and then what's your responsibility, how you build your understanding about the project, and at the same time, how you identify the stakeholder, do the stakeholder analysis, and after that, what you do. So explain, like, all that.
Okay, so actually, on the day one, I go and report to the project manager. I do all my orientations, the training that the job requires, as well as the other trainings. And then I will start the project initiation, and I check with the project manager the list of stakeholders. I want to know more about the project. I'll ask the project manager to share the documentation that about the previous project that they have done in the past. There somewhere they would have saved those documents. I'll go through that, and then I'll ask for the I'll check on meeting those stakeholders about how they are, what do they do, to understand more on their profile, and then I'll go in depth
Okay,
on the
sorry, I
project.
wanna stop you right there. First thing, the documentation that you are looking is not from the previous project. Okay,
Mhm.
every documentation that is there for that is for this project, nothing from any other project.
Okay.
Okay, the only thing, the documentation, there is a documentation that is what are the documentation. You need to understand and remember that what documentation is there. That's why I asked you guys to kind of go over the project manager role and what project manager does, what documents it creates, so you will understand and remember that documentation that is available. When you say that available documentation, you should be clear what you are talking about.
Like the business required documents.
That hasn't been created yet. You are going to
Okay.
create that, so it will not be there.
Okay.
What would be there over there? There will be project request document, or we also call it like project charter.
Okay.
And who creates the project charter, and who does that request document?
The project manager does it.
No, that means you haven't, like, heard our, or kind of remembered our conversation from the beginning. Project request document is being created by the people who is requesting the project. That is
Oh, yeah,
business
yeah,
operation
the
folks,
stakeholders.
stakeholders or representative of stakeholders, somebody on the business side, they are
Yeah.
creating that request. And
Yeah.
other thing, you should know that what are the main content of project
Like
charter, project
like
charter.
the
Main,
project name, project a creation date, and the end date. like the start date and the end date, and the purpose of the project, and how like the purpose of the project, like why they are doing, and what they are expecting from the project. The project charter has those information.
Right. And the main thing in there is basically problem or opportunity statement.
Yeah.
What is existing process and what is to be process. Okay.
Yeah.
What is current process and what is the future process they want. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything like that, that would be over there. And that is created. That is basically like the seed of the project.
Yeah.
Okay. And then project manager work, and project manager does create multiple documentation. Okay. And out of that project plan, project timelines, and project like budgets and all that, you don't need anything. You have nothing to do with the budgets or budgetary estimates or anything like that. You don't need have any thing to do with a resource plan or like a human resource plan or other project resource plan, or you don't need to communicate about worry about his communication plan or all those. What you need to be like worried about, that what is the timeline. So it will tell you when you have to, what is your deliverables. Okay, so overall you need to know what is your deliverable from the deliverables from the project manager's documents. And other important thing, which is the most important thing, if there is any project charter or project request document is there. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you need to basically get from the from this request. That is the purpose for this. Hey, can I see that if there is any, like, where is the shared documentation for this project, so not the past project. This project will not have any documentation for any other project except for this that you will be like working on. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, now go ahead.
And then the business analyst check for the documentation, and then go through all the documents, then do the stakeholder analysis, and then try to meet the stakeholder, schedule some time on their calendar to discuss more on the project. And also do actually that's the initiation phase, and then they do the execution phase, where they choose the methodology, like whether the agile or the waterfall, and then they do the analysis and everything, like the all the three phases: analysis, implementation, and the testing phase.
Right. These phases are just for your understanding that there are three phases. Nobody is going to ask about that, but these are the phases you need to remember on the back of your mind. Then you're explaining project. Okay. Because the phases goes in sequence. First will be business analysis, then will be like a system or solution analysis, then will be development, and then will be testing. So you cannot start testing or development or doing system analysis when the business analysis hasn't been done yet.
Yeah.
So when you are explaining the project in your response, so you have to consider that in how it goes. You back of your mind, that is basically the roadmap on which you will be filling up. Okay, all right, first I did like the business analysis. This is what I did in the business analysis, did the stakeholder, identify the stakeholders, and schedule meeting with them, gathered and documented requirement, and then I work with so that is the business analysis. Then I work with the system architect or system analyst to help him understand what the requirements are, and I partnered with the system analyst to schedule meeting for him, because I was a frequently talking to the stakeholders, so it was easy for me to get them like quickly. So I partnered with them. So he presents system analyst presented the solutions that he or she identified. Then stakeholders like selected one solution, and then system analyst created or system architect created the detailed design of the created like function requirement document or design document. And I partnered with the system analyst to help him with the requirement and with documentation of the design document. And
Okay.
after the design document was done, I partnered with the system analyst to give a overview of requirement document to the whole development and testing team, so they can start their work. So then when the development started, I was working closely with them if in case they have any question with the related to requirement. If I can answer, I will answer. And if there is something that needed a customer feedback, I was the person who was working with the customer and with the developer questions. So bringing them the answer from the customer, from the stakeholders. So, and at the same time when the development was happening, I was working with the QAs who was writing test scripts and test cases. So working with them to create those test cases, helping them understand the requirement, and reviewing those test cases with them. So that's what I was doing. And when the development was complete, then test execution started. And when the testing was complete, then I partnered with the stakeholder to conduct user acceptance testing. So that is end-to-end explanation of basically your role as a BA. Okay. And so this is how you would be able to explain, but each step you would have that knowledge, in-depth knowledge, that what it means. Okay, like I explained you that what it means when you say that, hey, project manager, can you share where the documentation is available, where the documentation is there, SharePoint document, SharePoint link or something, where I can see the previous documentation of this project. Okay. Just this, can you share that link with me? For this request, behind there is, you need to know what you are asking and what you would be looking over there. Okay, so that doesn't need to be like explain or anything to the add that to them, but if you have to, okay, all right, come across any question, you would be able to explain that, okay, all right, this is that in that documentation, in my organization we did this. So you would be able to explain that confidently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, then next.
Neelam?
Yeah, sure. Can you see somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. This is basically what you went through, what the project manager does. When he kicks off the project, he will just find out the software and hardware needs, the HR needs, which is basically hiring us all, how many BAs, developers, QA, DAs are needed. He'll do the project plan, as in he'll set the timeline and the deliverables. The list of stakeholders, creating the project space in SharePoint for the documentation of the project to be available for all of us, communication plan, what to communicate and who to communicate during the course of the project. Example here is the weekly status of the project to the management. Then ensure that the project runs smoothly, as in if there are any hurdles that come up, then help the team to resolve it. As in if there is a software issue, to raise a ticket. so that it can be taken care of. Risk management, ensuring completion of the project on time, and he manages any risk that comes up during execution. To deliver the project on time, coordinate a release or deployment of the activity, closure of the project. This is what basically the project manager will do.
All right. Yeah, that's good. So what question is, what are the documentation that project manager creates?
As in the PRD, at the project charter,
No, project manager doesn't create the project charter.
that comes from the stakeholders.
Right. If you remember that session I had, I like, for each step, I also mentioned in that training what document would be called after each step. That
Project request document.
that doesn't created by the project manager again. Why the project manager is a part of IT team.
PRD is, I think, created by us, right?
Stakeholders.
Sorry,
Stakeholder.
no, PRD is at the start.
Yeah,
of
PRD is a project request document, a PRD or project charter. That is the same thing. That is created by the stakeholders, whoever requested that project. Okay, so basically project plans that what a project manager create. If you don't remember those, so in those plan, what are the components in those plan? All those things that you created. So everything that you have mentioned in here, that creates some a document. Communication plan he will document that plan. Okay, and then risk management. Okay, all right, there will be a risk management plan document too. Okay, so but overall they will be part of project planning document.
So he will also create that BRD, right? Wherein I'm unsure.
No, he will not create. BRD is a business requirement document that you will create.
Okay. Then that part where you taught us that it will be set, right, from Jan 1st to Jan, the timelines that he
right timeline. Yeah. So timeline,
business
that is creating those timeline, that will be job timelines along with the deliverables.
Okay.
According to timeline, there will be deliverables. That's what the project manager will create.
Like the project, the case, like a business case.
No, like he will say business analysis from Jan to March. Then he will tell that BRD should be created by the business analyst between that time. Those deliverables, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then and then the system design to be done by the system analyst. He will kick in like March to April. Then development April to May or June. The dev team. Then the QA testing will come maybe from June to July. And then that's what else is there? Software testing, right? Software testing also, we were in July, right? So maybe July to July 15th or something. And after that, user acceptance testing was there. So that would be like probably by 1st of August, it should finish. And then the release date will come. So maybe if my project was from Jan to mid-August or whatever, so August 15th, that release date will be there. So I think we didn't do the template for that, but we will include that next time.
Right. So now you understand what the project manager do. So as a BA from your day one, but when you start till you start organizing the requirement session, what what is the story in between those points? You start from your start till you start your first requirement session. What happens in between?
When after the business analyst is hired, what they will do is it until they give the
Okay, so just like now, try to personify, like, what I will do, as a business analyst, what I will do. Okay, use more like an I and me, and, more like past tense instead of, telling that you are explaining some basically like, theory. Okay, so tell that you have done it.
Okay. So after I get hired, I will ask first for the project documentation, to which I would need access to the SharePoint site. And after going through the documentation and getting insight of the project, what can I do? I will identify the stakeholders from, I mean, if it is already listed in that. And then once I get a grip of the idea of the project, I will schedule a meeting with the stakeholders.
Okay, so then, so I mean, you explain that what she missed. That was very quick.
um, um, who to add, and um,
So
she
from your
should.
day one, when you was hired, what happened on day one?
Okay.
What happened on day two? And your basically was to finish that in like 8 weeks. That was the your plan. So how you done that?
Okay, on day one, when the business analyst come on board, um, um, he understands the project, and discuss the project with the project manager, and then gets the list of stakeholders, try to meet them, try to schedule some um, um, time to understand more about the project, as well as meanwhile the business analyst go through all the documents that are there in the SharePoint site or wherever the project manager has saved it, uh, like the project charter, and then start creating the business required document. Or work on the initiation phase. Did I answer?
Yeah, it was good start. But again, that's like, the next step we will be doing, say that you will be creating a response. Okay, like as a BA, like explaining about as a BA what you will do. Okay, and I will give you basically a sample response, and it will be kind of comprises of what we already talked. Okay, so far what we have talked, just summing it up. Okay, so for example, like as a BA, I worked on the project with this company. The project was about creating a new feature for their customer, so they can like utilize that feature to get the business value what they were looking. So when I started on day one, I did got my laptop, set up my computer, and then work with the project manager to get SharePoint link, or shared project shared site link, and then I worked to go over those documentation. Okay, that what was available in there. I checked over the project charter, go through it, understood like what they are looking, made a few points out of that, made a little presentation, so I can start finding the stakeholders. Then did the stakeholder analysis, find out who are the stakeholder, have a conducted in fact a meeting with them just to verify all the stakeholders and who are the primary stakeholders and who are just to notify. And as it was done, then I scheduled my first session. In the kickoff session, I went over my presentation that I created while doing all that process of understanding the project and finding the stakeholders. So I started from there, greeted those like the stakeholder, also did a final verification that we have everybody here in that meeting who needed to be involved in this project. Okay, and went over what's the problem statement, what opportunity statement, and what is the current state and future state, and started asking question from their answers. Okay, and by that I found documented all that what they spoken about. After that 45-minute meeting, went back to my desk and then analyzed that, documented all that points that I had basically short noted during the meeting. And then I started putting all those in the business requirement document template. Okay, and in that template, after that meeting, there was like few requirements that were been documented, and I had, while I was doing, I was also noting down all the questions that were coming into my mind when I was reviewing what they said and reviewing that meeting notes. I documented all those questions, and then I was ready for the next meeting. Okay, so after in the next meeting, I went over what we have discussed in the last meeting, and then started asking the questions that I documented from the conversation and from the requirements, and then keep asking question and documenting what they are telling, and then again the same exercise, went over all the meeting notes, and picked out the requirement of them, and documented in the business requirement document template. So updated the basically business requirement document template after that meeting. And likewise the third meeting, fourth meeting, and after in the final meeting, we had all the requirements that documented, and they have verified this is what they want. And then I sent out the document for to the primary stakeholder to get it signed off. After the requirement sign off was done, then I shared the document with the system analyst and the developers and testers. And I also conducted a overview of that document meeting with them to give them what the document, like what the requirements are. And then partner with the design system analyst to create the design document design. Okay, a design document for the identified solution, and then work with the development team later and the testing team, and at the end also did user acceptance testing. I in fact led the user acceptance testing. So that is the story. So I want you guys to create your stories and write it down. Okay, take a pen and paper, or your like open a word sheet, and write that down in that sequence. Okay. So that is basically exercise for tomorrow. Okay.
Like write down each and every like as a business analyst how we talk, or as
No, just what I said, listen to my conversation like in detail again, maybe like 2-3 times. You just have to reproduce keeping that sequence. So my conversation would be is in compliance with the that methodology. Okay, first analysis, then design, then development, then testing, and then finally user acceptance testing. That would, so yours should be in a line too. Pick any project and explain a little bit in few lines, and then start telling. It's a story. Okay, only you need to consider that you are telling the story in a sequence. Okay, so that's what you have to basically create.
okay.
All right, and create at least 2 stories, and that is the assignment for tomorrow. And here my conversation, I'm gonna share the like upload this meeting and share it right away with you guys. Hear that twice or 3 times, write down your story, and then hear again and see what you documented and what I told. Is it like sequence is there? Okay, and try to have more, you can be yourself and put more, but whatever you will put, you would be able to explain that. Okay, and if you have any questions that while you're doing, note down those questions, because later on, if you will not note down that question, when you have it after 2-3 minutes, when you go move to the next page or next few sentences, you're gonna forget. Okay, and that question gonna get you remember after maybe like 2-3 days, or sometime when you will like stuck. Oh, there was a question I thought I will ask, but note down all the questions that so you can ask and discuss. Okay,
Sure.
all right, and that's it for today. So
Sure.
let's, so this at least it spend like 1 or 2 hours, but the more time you will spend with this exercise, the better it would be.
Sure.
All right, and also document all your questions, and no matter what question is, no question is stupid question. It is the time you can ask all questions, and even like a stupid one, anything that comes to your mind, you can ask that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then you guys take care.
Sure. Thank you.
You send us the video tonight, right?
Yes, I will be sending shortly. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.